Welcome aboard Mimpi, our 38-foot Moody sailboat. I'm Kim. And this is Steve. We bought our sailing boat in October 2019 and are planning to sail the Med for a couple of years. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Saranda. Managed to get some washing done. Even took off the thermies after 10. Airing out the mattresses, giving them a bit of sun, and I've been doing a job. This is something about a steering, like manual steering thing. Taking off some rust using the drill. I'm having some quiet time with my noise cancelling earphones. There are boys drilling on the thing next door and it's hurting my head, so shh. Now that it's a bit quieter. Yesterday I started a project of cleaning and painting the emergency tiller, for the technical term, and I was quite happy doing an adequate job with the Dremel, and I was scraping it down nicely, hammering it, getting out those little bits and pieces of rust so that I could repaint it. And then the boys from next door on the big wooden boat saw what I was doing. I thought, no, that's not good enough. So they came out with their technical tools and scraped down the metal so it was shiny and clean, and then got the paint out, and then they painted it. So I got my job done, but I didn't do it. Someone else did it for me, and I'm very grateful, and I'll now show you what it looks like because it's very pretty. So it's this bit here. So look, they even painted it in a lovely blue. Attaches to that pole, and that makes up our emergency steering. I did the spade. Every now and then, Steve and I look at each other and we say, whose freaking idea was it to buy a boat and live on it? And last night was one of those moments. So we knew that there was bad weather. We'd prepared for it, or we thought we'd prepared for it. We've got fenders all around the boat, and now we really know why we have fenders all around the boat, including a couple of really big balls that sit at the back of the boat. And we got off the boat to have a bit of a break from all the rocking and rolling during the day, and we came back to the boat. We're both feeling a bit anxious about being on the boat, but we're here, we're looking on the lookout, we're taking care of what's going on around us, and then all of a sudden, bang! And we both swore, of course, because we didn't know what it was. And as we found out later, because we spent the next couple of hours in the rain, sorting out ropes and doing all sorts of things, which I'll show you in a minute, but we realized that one of those big balls had popped. So the reason that the ball had popped and made a god-awful noise was because our rope, which was secured to the front of the boat, had come loose. It had literally pulled off the cleat because of the strength of the surge from the swell. And what happened was the back of our boat was banging up against that. And it was horrible and it was scary, and both of us just didn't know what to do. We had to work together. I had to jump from the pier over to the boat next door. I had to re-secure lines, and we got in touch with one of the guys that works on this boat, and he helped us come alongside. So effectively, we're still attached to the pier, but we're a lot further out, and we're like extended lines. We added further lines to the big ferry. Don't share this to scare you, mum. Don't freak out. But I thought it would be useful, because usually my videos are always, funny, good fun, what we're up to kind of stories, and it's not all like that. There are times where both of us really don't know what we're doing, and we have to rely on each other and ask people who speak another language for help, and they help us. So our job now, because it's about 11 o'clock here, we want to reattach ourselves to power. which means we have to get the tender out, which means we have to pump it up some more because it's got a hole in it, which we hadn't fixed yet. We want to get some more ropes out of the lazarette that's under the red and blue boxes there, so we can add some more lines because there is some more bad weather coming. We need to go back over to the Vodafone store to get Steve some more data so he's back online, and then we have to batten down ready for some more high winds and high swell, which will be hitting us around 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon into the night. But we're safe and secure where we are for now, and that's where we're going to stay until we've got a little bit of sunshine and less weather and swell. Saying goodbye to our damaged fenders. All gone.
It was a few days after
we dented Mimpi.
After we dented Mimpi, she bashed her bum on the concrete. So a few days after that, we left Saranda and moved further north in Albania. And it was only at that time that we actually fully put all the pieces together on what had actually happened. When we'd reverse parked between the car ferry and the Turkish wooden boat, when we parked in there, we'd reverse parked, we dropped our anchor about 3 boat lengths out.
Did all the right things.
Did all the right things.
Perfectly.
Yep.
Backed.
That's right. And what happened was, as we dropped our anchor and reversed in and tied up, our anchor was actually laying over the top of the anchor from the car ferry. And as the swells were coming around the point and into the port, both boats were all rocking around, and the large ferry was rocking up and down, and its anchor chain was obviously going up and down too. And in going up and down, it was lifting our anchor chain and moving our anchor slightly, and lift it and move it slightly, and eventually there was nothing holding us in place from the front of the boat. And that's part of the reason why we kept reeling in anchor chain, and then it would be nice and stable again.
For a couple of days.
For a day or so, and then it would be a bit loose, and then we'd tighten it in and be okay. And in the end, we weren't happy with that, and that's why we tied up to the bow of the Turkish boat, the wooden boat. The boys were quite happy for us to do that, and we did it, and everything seemed okay. And when things got really rough, what eventually happened was that line didn't break, but it tore the wooden cleat off the front of the bow of the Turkish boat, and that's when our boat was not really hanging on to anything, and backed off and backed into
bang went that ball.
Yeah, bang, and the big.
And that happened twice actually. It tore off the cleat.
Yep.
The first time, and there was a cleat attached to a fender of theirs.
Yes.
And we found that in the water and was able to get it out.
Yep.
We reattached a line.
Yep.
And then the next time it pulled out another cleat. It didn't have anything attached, so we lost that one.
Yeah.
But that was very, very stressful.
And so the reason we found out that that's what had happened after we were leaving Saranda, because when we untied our stern lines and we motored forward to try and pick up our anchor was stuck. And where our anchor was stuck it was over the top of the anchor chain from the car ferry, and as we were trying to lift it up, it was catching on the chain. And so we would lift it and it would stop, and we couldn't lift it any further. And we would stop and we'd lift it, and it just kept, couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and the windlass just kept cutting out as well.
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
saying there's something wrong, that it would cut out the power. We'd have to come back down below deck and switch the power on and off to try and do it again.
Yeah, it would reset.
Yeah. And eventually I picked up the phone and called the guy, one of the guys on the Turkish boat
to say, help, we're not quite sure what to do or what's happening here.
We don't know what to do, we don't know what's happening.
And he walked to the other side of the car ferry on the jetty and was looking out at us, and he worked out what had happened. And he got on the phone with Kim, and they were chatting about and he knew how to get us unstuck. And what he needed us to do was to drive our boat forward and closer to the ferry so that our pickup point on the bow would be past the line or the chain coming from the car ferry. And so, we really didn't quite understand what it was, but we just followed his instructions, and eventually we were able to loosen the anchor, lift it up, and then head north. So.
Yes. Thankfully he was there, because otherwise we would have been there for hours.
Yeah, we would have been for hours trying to work out.
We probably would have even reversed ourselves back in and gone, what the?
Yeah.
Tried to figure it out.
Yeah.
So thankfully he was there to help us.
Huge thanks to Apo and the help that we had from him
Benny.
and Benny from the Turkish boat. That was awesome.
So we left Saranda and we went north to Porto Palermo. Little did we know that we were actually still in shock from our dented Mimpi experience. We reached Porto Palermo because we'd picked a weather window, and we tied ourselves up to a big concrete pier again, which again was concrete, and we battened down for a couple of days because we knew that weather was coming in. But both of us, for those 2 days, we were high anxiety, we were stressed. We literally had to put our noise cancelling earphones on again, just so that we wouldn't hear the wind and the rain and the movement of the boat, because we were traumatized.
Yeah, and for us as newbies, it was a bit like PTSD. We took a fair while to get over it, but
There are still times though that when the high winds pick up, both of our stress levels still go up.
Yep.
I don't know how long that's going to take to get over, but we just keep talking about it, and we're more used to it, I guess.
Yeah, and also, but we're very thankful that we've got quite a solid boat, so
Yes.
so that's a good thing.
Thank you, Mimpi.
Thank you, Mimpi. Yeah.
So we dented Mimpi, but we survived.
Yep.
And it was actually worthwhile to figure out what had actually happened afterwards. But it did take us a while.
Yeah. And Mimpi will get her bottom fixed probably when we're on the hard. And at this stage, we're not quite sure where that's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere north of Albania. So we'll work that out when we get there. And that would be over winter.
Yep. Cool. Months later, we're sitting here in dented Mimpi, looking back on what happened.
Yep.
And it was a very stressful experience, and in hindsight,
hindsight's easy. We look back on it, and if we looking backwards, it doesn't feel as bad as what it was at the time. But again, it was a new experience for us. A lot of I don't knows, and a lot of what do we do, and that sort of thing. A lot of unknowns.
I think at the time we actually handled it really well. Like I don't remember.
I don't remember feeling unsafe.
No, we dealt with it, and then I don't think we slept very well.
No.
That night or for weeks afterwards.
We were more worried about the boat than ourselves. We weren't really.
Were fine.
Yeah, we weren't really in any danger. We were just worried about how much damage was going to happen to Mimpi and how we were going to deal with that.
Yeah, and if it was going to let in water, I mean, it wasn't that much of a dent. There's no holes in the boat. We're lucky that I've got long legs to be able to jump from Mimpi to that concrete pier, and from the concrete pier back onto the Turkish boat, because otherwise we would have been
like a
stuff
monkey.
too. Yeah. Well, you're the fish and I'm the monkey. So if you have enjoyed this video, maybe not so much because it's a bit stressful, but if you've enjoyed our videos, please remember to like and subscribe so you can get notifications of our coming videos.
Yep, and we'll share whatever comes along.
Thanks for joining us. See you later.
Bye-bye.